Hello ratbags, it's Jade Plays Games. It is Anthem Day today. Well, it is if you're on Xbox or PC. Anthem comes out today for people to be able to try if you are signed up to EA's Origin Early Access program or you're part of the EA Access program on Xbox. Everyone else, you will not be able to play Anthem until the 22nd of February. So PlayStation heads, unfortunately that's the first chance you'll get to try Anthem out. But what does it all really mean? What can you expect from Anthem? I'm going to be giving you the download sizes as we know them right now, what to expect in the future after launch, and what will the game actually have when it comes out. Is it going to have the end game that lots of people crave? Is it going to be able to fulfill the promises made and keeping DLC free for the future? We'll also be taking a little bit of a look at the cosmetic situation going on. How expensive are they really going to be? I'm going to give you everything you need to know about Anthem's launch. So come with me, it's Jade Plays Games. Let's go Pathfinders. The release times for Anthem have been pretty convoluted. BioWare and EA even had to release a chart, which has pretty much become an instant meme. But here's the complete rundown. If you have Origin's Access Premier on PC, you'll be able to play the game fully from today in your time zones, which I'm going to give you as well. There is no limits to how long you can play. It is literally the full game unlocked right now. If you're an Origin's Access Basic member or an EA Access on Xbox One, you will be able to play up to 10 hours of the game starting from today. After that 10 hours is up, you will then have to wait until the 22nd when the full game goes live. Everyone else, regardless whether or not you pre-ordered the Legion of Dawn edition, you'll be able to play Anthem on the 22nd of February, midnight your time. It doesn't matter where you are in the world, Europe, America, Asia, as long as it's midnight in your specific time, that's when Anthem's going to go live on the 22nd. However, today is a little bit different for the UK and some of the other places. Anthem servers go live today at 10 AM Eastern Time, 7 AM PT Time, 3 PM UK time and 4 PM Central Eastern Time. And in Australia that is roughly around 2 AM in the morning. So how big is Anthem itself? Well, on Xbox One it's reportedly around 37 GB. On PC it's around 51 GB, and unfortunately because PlayStation release is a little bit way off, we still haven't got the size for that either. But you can imagine it's going to be somewhere between 37 GB and 50 GB. So if you haven't cleared space, go and do it now and get preloading. You should be able to preload Anthem on Xbox if you're part of the EA Access program, or likewise if you're part of the Origin Premier or Basic Access program. Now some more basics just in case for them numbnuts who've been living under the ground. Anthem cannot be played offline. It is completely online only experience. You'll be able to join up with up to 3 of your friends, so 4 in a squad in most missions and game modes. You can form alliances with other members. In fact, you can join big alliances and generally you will share experience. You won't lose any yourself, but the more experience, the more game time you're putting into it, at the end of every week you will be receiving coins. These coins can be used to buy cosmetic items as well as armor pieces in the game. That's what was happening during the beta. And while it's not complete guild options, it's the closest we're probably going to get for a while. Although guilds will be happening, the Anthem creators have said they're going to be implementing some sort of guild system in the future. There are some other bonuses as well. You do get some XP gains by making sure you're playing with people off your friends list, particularly from the Alliance. So it's well worth starting one up or joining a big YouTubers. And as I mentioned earlier, them coins will be distributed as a whole. So everyone contributing experience into the game, part of that alliance, coins will be given out to everyone at the end of the week. You can play Anthem single player. There is going to be a bunch of story and elements to it that are going to give you a good gameplay experience. It is not an MMO and it is not even an action MMO. The online components right now only consist of player versus everything. There is going to be no player versus player at launch, although that is something they're thinking about in the future. So what are you going to be doing in Anthem, and has it got enough content? That's the big question a lot of people have been asking after playing a demo and realising there is only 3 semi-style boss encounters. Strongholds are pretty much the equivalent of a Destiny raid at the moment, although there are plans to add more in the future. Right as of launch, there will only be 3 strongholds that you'll be able to take on. Once you've completed all the story modes and you've done some open world missions, as well as daily challenges, weekly challenges and monthly challenges, the strongholds are what you're going to be grinding a lot of the time to get high-end gear. There are going to be some other things as well that you unlock as you get ranked up. You're going to be able to unlock certain bounty missions. It does seem like the 3 strongholds are a pretty small amount and they're not really the full raid experience. Cataclysms are going to be coming after launch and part of their unique content. And while the developers don't like calling it a raid, that is generally how it's going to be perceived as the big go-to event. In the past, Destiny and The Division, both games geared towards live services, struggled for end game. It's what put off a lot of people, and a lot of people were disappointed at launch it didn't have more to do. But the developers did put that in, and it's become a staple part of the experience now, expecting a raid to drop. So it's going to be no different for Anthem, but right now the content does seem a little bit light. So if you're expecting to powerhouse through this game in a week and then just carry on playing and playing, you might find you'll burn yourself out pretty quickly. Especially as there's no PvP to take the edge off or try something a bit different while you're waiting for the Cataclysm. There is a roadmap planned for Anthem and it all begins with acts. Act 1 is going to start with Evolving World, Update 2 is going to be Stronger Together, and Update 3 will add the Cataclysm. During this time we are going to get, as it says there, new events, quality of life improvements, new rewards, expanded progression system, another new stronghold, guild and leaderboards, new missions, and of course the big raid, the Cataclysm. So it's good to see this is mapped out and it's clearly there for players to see, but will they actually be able to deliver? We're not 100% sure exactly what the Cataclysms will entail. You can see it's got some sort of superstorm brewing in the distance. But bioware and obviously Anthem have been desperately trying to make sure the players know this kind of content is going to be coming. This could be the opportunity that we see a big boss-like encounters like what you're seeing right now. That was part of the beta, the very first few missions that we got to try out, and it shows you the experience of what a Cataclysm may be like, running into a stormed area and then fighting off these giant massive creatures. But the devs have said they don't want it to be just a carbon copy of something that Destiny has done or someone else. Rather than just have 5 bosses and you have to take them out in waves, they're really trying to make it more aspirational in their own words. It's probably the biggest concern a lot of people have with the looter shooter. Of course there is going to be more difficulties added. Not just the basic general easy, normal or hard. You will also be able to unlock Grandmaster editions. Now these Grandmaster difficulties, you'll be able to access level 2 and level 3 of the Grandmaster difficulty once you reach level 30. So for people who really love the game and love the grind, then they certainly will have more difficult missions. It's just going to be a case of repeating a lot of what you've already played. But hopefully the difficulty doesn't just make the creatures or enemies sponges and will actually add more variation to the creatures and give a little bit more difference. You're definitely going to need all your high-end gear. So how does the gear work and what do we expect? Gear and armour is designated as common, uncommon, rare, epic, masterwork and legendary. Nothing is higher than legendary. Masterwork and legendary are pretty close and similar to each other, but legendary gear will have slight extra effects and maybe slightly better stats. Each item comes with its own power level. If you've ever played Destiny, this is pretty much your light score. Your power or your gear score is the average of all your equipped gear put together. When you become certain level with your gear score, that's when you will become legendary. All legendary gear will have specific inscriptions on them. These small bonuses are going to add things like extra flight time or extra ammo carryability. The rest of your gear does benefit from some of these inscriptions. Common items don't have any, but uncommon has at least 1. And of course legendary pieces of gear have 5. There is a random roll effect in the game, so your masterwork weapons won't be exactly the same every time or the same as some of your teammates. The inscriptions and the stats will change and go variably different depending on your playstyle or just random luck. You won't be able to re-roll any of your gear at launch though. Destiny put this in for a while where you could literally chuck an item in and you could maybe get something similar back but with a different type of boost. But Anthem have no plans for this at launch, and it might not be a good while until we see that implemented into the game. So there was a really good article with Polygon which basically listed off everything not to expect at launch. But these things do seem to be spoken about by the developers, and there is a chance that this lot will be coming afterwards. One of the biggest ones is people have asked from the beta, will Javelins have more than one ultimate ability? According to Jonathan Warner, no. But that doesn't mean in future they may add another one. Once you hit level 30, which is the cap for the game, you will still gain experience. While it won't indicate a new level for yourself, there is going to be some use for it after launch. There's going to be no waypoints in free play. You're going to have to just study the map and shout out to your teammates where you are. There is no photo mode available at launch. Legendary is the highest rarity at launch. They are going to add elemental weapons after launch as well. Probably the most important piece of Anthem's gameplay is primers and detonators. This is something actually borrowed and used from Mass Effect series. Basically your class, your Javelin, will have the ability to add a primer, and then when you add your detonator ability, which is usually some sort of elemental, you can create much more damage in a wider effect or have different outcomes for it. But generally your weapons are very stock and basic. They won't have any sort of primer abilities to them, and they won't have any elemental. But after launch they are thinking of adding some weapons that may have lightning damage or fire damage. This would then make the idea of you detonating with your abilities or your components a little bit more interesting. Don't underestimate how much damage you can do with this if you time it well, particularly if you're playing with a team. It's well worth calling out when you're launching a primer or if you've got a detonator ready to go. So for that you may need voice in game. Anthem does in fact contain voice in game. All you simply have to do is activate it by going into the settings once you're in the game. It isn't the default, so if you want to hear what other players are saying, you must change that in the settings. Now, of course, big draw is loot. You want to be gaining lots of high level loot and you want to get stuff that's special. I've spoken about the inscriptions on items, but don't expect all of your enemies to have unique loot. Higher level bosses won't necessarily drop specific individual pieces. Generally, all enemies are going to drop roughly the same sort of gear. But that doesn't mean in the future they won't add boss specific, and it really will increase the gameplay experience if you have to keep repeating the same stronghold, that you have a chance at least to get some better gear. If you're a stats person and you desperately want to see what happens with your game once you've come out with free mode or an event, they are going to be adding stuff soon to show how many kills you got, etc., rather than just the XP you gain. There is going to be more Javelins alongside the Colossus, the Interceptor, the Storm and the Ranger. Expect to see some more added after launch. Now we know DLC is going to be free. bioware have stated that you'll only ever be able to buy microtransactions that are cosmetic only. And yes, you can earn all the cosmetic items in game. But of course it is an EA game, that is going to take you years. Now the Ranger of course is the first Javelin you're going to be able to use. After that you're going to have to choose which Javelin you want to unlock next when you get to certain levels. These levels are 8, 16 and 26. So you're going to have to really think carefully about what type of character you want to be. After you've played around with the Ranger, are you going to go for the Colossus first, the Interceptor or Storm? The Ranger is your go-to all-rounder. It's going to have very good velocity, it's got good range and good close combat. The Colossus is your tank class, very melee focused, very close combat, doesn't move as quickly. The Interceptor is the fastest of all the Javelins and it's got very ninja-like abilities. Then lastly you've got Storm, which edges a little bit more magical, a bit more range effect, more like a sniper style character. Just as important for a lot of people is how you customize your Javelins, and of course the microtransactions we knew were going to be a big part of this game. What we still don't know, even though it's launch day, is the exact price of these cosmetic items. This picture famously leaked a little while ago detailing that we could be spending up to $20 for a skin. Now while that's pretty much on par with Epic and Fortnite, of course that game is for free. A lot of people are very unhappy about the pricing of the cosmetic items. Why are you paying $60 for a triple premium game and then having to pay money just to customize it? BioWare have been very elusive about the subject, not coming out with any sort of statement regarding exactly how much they're going to be. Generally think they're going to be around the same price. It has to be said, all of these items you can earn in game, and the game does consist of two currencies, shards and coin. Coin is your in-game currency that you can earn while completing missions or being part of an alliance. Shards are the real world money that you have to cough up for. As you can see from these pictures and promised by the bioware devs, there will be no cosmetic in the game that you cannot buy with either coin or using just real world money. We've seen with Apex Legends, the way they're selling their cosmetics, it's very similar price points. So I really don't expect to see bioware backing down on the prices in this. They just simply haven't revealed exactly what's going on to avoid any sort of negative feedback. If you really like customizing every little bit of detail, well, you're going to have to wait a bit longer. They're looking at maybe customizing just your HUD or your visors or even your thruster color, but that won't be at launch. All in all, that's everything you need to know about Anthem at launch. As much details as I could find about cosmetics, their future plans, and the nitty-gritty of download size and what time you can expect to play. Just an FYI on the pre-orders though, if you bought the Legion of Dawn edition, the skins, the items that you unlock from that won't be available until completed a certain mission in the game. I'm really looking forward to Anthem. I really enjoyed the demo, and judging by some of the views I got on a couple of my videos, you guys really want to see guides and tutorials as much as possible. So expect me to show you exactly every resource, the best gear and some good Javelin builds, as well as running you through the Strongholds and how to adequately defeat certain enemies. If this video has helped you, make sure you like that button and go and check me out on Twitch TV/JadePlaysGames. That's where you'll find me playing Anthem a lot during the day, 12 to 6 PM Monday to Friday. Come and join my Discord if you want to group up with me on Anthem as well. The links are all in the description box down below, and I'll see you guys in the world of Anthem.